So the crypto market is now back under 2 trillion. Bitcoin is back under 40,000. Most of the market is red. There is blood in the streets. So what is going on? Well, if you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you know I've been highlighting some of these things, making you guys prepared on what's to come in the market, such as Fed tapering, the stopping of QE, and interest rates. Well, a few days ago, last Thursday to be exact, Jerome Powell from the Fed made a statement about aggressively raising interest rates that could put the U.S. in a recession state. And so we're going to be diving into the details on what exactly they were talking about. But before we do, I want to take a brief second to talk about one of the partners on the channel, which is 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗍𝗏. And if you paid any amount of crazy taxes in crypto like I did, you definitely want to listen to this. So if you're unfamiliar, 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏 is one of the top crypto IRAs in the US today that you can buy and sell crypto as well as precious metals as in gold and silver. Now, if you briefly look at the fees here, you can see very transparent fees. There is no monthly fees. So even if you're not investing that month, you don't have to worry about paying anything, right? Now, not only are you saving on those capital gain taxes, but also you can use this 24/7, 365. And when it comes to their institutional grade custody, they have top security in Coinbase custody, as well as Fireblocks, which they both have insurance policies for both of those. Now, last but not least, you may be wondering, well, Mike, what cryptos and precious metals can we buy and sell on the platform? And as you can see here on the screen, pretty much the top dogs that are in the space today, and they are also known for adding cryptocurrencies as well. So if you would like to check out 𝗖𝗢𝗏𝗏𝗏 for yourself, and this is your first time, you can actually earn $100 in funding when signing up. There will be a link in the description below, and I should have it pinned in the comment section for you as well. No promo code needed, just click the link and it'll take you over to their website. But now that we got that out the way, let's dive into some of the details of the Fed and what Jerome Powell has to say about what's to come right after this. Welcome back to the channel, Millionaires and Future Millionaires. I'm Mike the Investor, and as we briefly look at CoinGecko here, we can see the cryptocurrency market is down about 1.9%, currently about 1.9 trillion, so definitely well under that 2 trillion now. You can see Bitcoin sitting here right under that 40,000 at 39.4, Ethereum under 3K at 2,900, and we got Solana under $100 now as well. Now let's go ahead and look at what Jerome Powell has to say, and you can see this came out April 21st. Powell reinforces expectations of a sharp rate hike next month. And so this is definitely has things shaken up, and not just the crypto market, but also the traditional market as well when it comes to stocks, bonds, things of that nature. And so it talks about the Federal Reserve must move faster than in the past to rein in high inflation. Now, the chair Jerome Powell said Thursday, signaling that the sharp interest rate increases are likely in the coming months, beginning at the Fed's next policy meeting in May, which is coming up here in a couple of weeks. Now, in the panel discussion held by the International Monetary Fund, also known as the IMF, there's something in the idea of front-loading aggressive rate hikes as the Fed grapples with inflation that has reached a 4-decade high. Now, the next part here talks about when the Fed raises its rates, it often leads to a higher borrowing cost for the people and businesses, also including those seeking to borrow to buy homes, cars, and other costly goods. And so this is why investors and people do not like this, because this is what this results into. All right. And so let's move down a little bit further here. And as you can see, this is actually all I got here. Now, I may not read all of this, but I just want to give you guys kind of the meat and potatoes of this. Now, here's the URL if you do want to check this out for yourself. But we can see last month, the Fed implemented its first rate hike in more than 3 years, raising its target rate to a range of 0.25% to 0.05%. So expectations for sharp rate increases have risen quickly, reflecting the steady surge in inflation. Now, inflation in the 19 countries that use the euro reached a 7.5% last month, compared with a year earlier, the highest level since records began in 1997. So the ECB has set the July-September quarter as the target to stop buying buying bonds, but hasn't been more specific. And I've talked about this, and this is the stopping of QE, which is quantitative easing, meaning they're going to stop putting liquidity in the markets, which is definitely going to affect things. And I've talked about this multiple times. Now, Jerome Powell said the Fed wants to expeditiously raise its benchmark rate to a neutral level, meaning a level that neither encourages nor restrains economic growth. So the Fed officials now consider a rate between 2.25% and 2.5% to be roughly neutral, and that's 2 percentage points above its current level. Now, the Fed raises rates beyond neutral, Powell said. It is a level that would slow the economy if that turns out to be appropriate to stem high inflation. Now, the next sentence, they talk about how quickly they should raise rates, and this could be a debate in the coming months for policymakers. And if you look down here, it talks about if we slam the brakes on the economy by adjusting rates too quickly or too much, we risk potentially tipping the economy into a recession, right? And so these are the things that are going on. Now, if you've been following the channel, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, as I talk about things that's going to affect the market, besides talking about NFTs, besides talking about, riskier cryptos or just cryptos in general, when I've talked about these things, I made you guys prepared on say, hey, this is what's coming. As I mentioned in the last video, as I talked about these things, this could be definitely a pump or dump. This is not the pump that I think we needed to see 100,000 Bitcoin, right? There's still a lot of things that has to unfold for that to happen, in my personal opinion, such as having more clarity on regulation. What is that actually going to look like? We still have a little information on what that truly is going to look like, right? When the actual dust settles. We also need a truly physical spot Bitcoin ETF out of the US, right? And I think when that happens, I think that gives us the trigger on when we will start to see that push up to 100,000 Bitcoin. And so I think there's a lot of things that has to happen, as well as the three major things right now. Fed tapering, which means they have to sell assets off of the balance sheet. Also, they're going to stop buying assets as well, adding them to the balance sheet. And then they also are going to be raising rates as well. And remember, the U.S. can't pay back those trillions of dollars in debt, right? And so this is why they have to sell assets off of the balance sheet, because think about it. If you're buying assets and you have to sell assets, it doesn't make sense to keep buying them. So you can see how all three of these things coincide together. So if you gain some value from this video, smash the like button, comment down below, and I will see you on the next one.